Have you ever wondered what makes us, well, us? How did one species, out of all the human relatives that once roamed the Earth, come to dominate the entire planet? Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of Homo Sapiens, the wise human. Our journey began around 300,000 years ago, and from that moment on, the course of history was forever changed. We're not just talking about surviving. We're talking about thriving, innovating, and eventually building the complex world we live in today. So, buckle up, because we're about to travel back in time to uncover the secrets behind our species' ultimate success. Our story starts in Africa, the cradle of humanity. This is where the earliest evidence of Homo sapiens has been found. Imagine a world filled with challenges, from unpredictable climates to formidable predators. It was in this crucible that our ancestors were forged. Key fossil discoveries, like the ones at Jebel Irhoud in Morocco, have pushed back our origins further than we ever thought possible, revealing that our lineage is ancient and complex. These early humans weren't just passively surviving, they were actively adapting. The environmental pressures, they faced shifting savannas, fluctuating food sources, were the very catalysts that drove our It was a constant test of resilience, and only the most adaptable would pass. These weren't just bones in the dirt, they were the first chapters of our epitale, written in the very landscape of Africa. So, what gave Homo sapiens the edge? A huge part of the answer lies within our skulls. Our ancestors developed a more advanced brain structure, particularly in the frontal lobes, which are associated with high-level cognitive functions. This wasn't just about being slightly smarter, it was a quantum leap in thinking. This cognitive firepower allowed for something truly revolutionary: the development of complex language. Instead of simple grunts or gestures, our ancestors could now share detailed information, plan intricate hunts, and pass knowledge down through generations. And it wasn't just our brains that gave us an advantage. Our bodies were built for endurance. We could run for long distances, tracking prey for hours under the hot sun. This combination of a powerful mind and a resilient body made Homo sapiens an incredibly adaptable and formidable force of nature. This biological upgrade unlocked what we call the cognitive revolution. Suddenly, humans weren't just thinking about their next meal. They were capable of abstract thought. They could think about things that weren't physically present, like the future, the past, or even the spirit world. This is when we see the first sparks of true human culture. We find evidence of art, like stunning cave paintings that depict hunts and abstract symbols. These weren't just doodles, they were expressions of a complex inner world, a way of making sense of their existence. This new way of thinking also transformed our social lives. Humans began to form larger, more structured communities built on cooperation. Working together, they could achieve what no individual could alone, from bringing down massive mammoths to protecting the group from danger. This ability to cooperate flexibly in large numbers is arguably our species' greatest superpower. Armed with these new abilities, Homo sapiens didn't stay put. They began one of the most remarkable journeys in the history of life: the Great Migration out of Africa. This was Yuende's single event, but a series of waves spreading across the globe over tens of thousands of years. Following coastlines and chasing herds of animals, our ancestors pushed into Asia, across to Australia, up into Europe, and finally, across the Bering Strait into the Americas. Each new environment presented a unique set of challenges. They had to adapt to frigid ice ages, dense tropical rainforests, and vast, arid deserts. And adapt they did. This incredible journey is a testament to our species' ingenuity and resilience. We are, by our very nature, explorers and pioneers. The fact that you can find humans living in every corner of the Earth today is the direct result of this ancient, unceasing drive to see what lies over the next horizon. Of course, this global expansion wouldn't have been possible without the right tools. But early Homo sapiens weren't just using simple rocks. They were masters of innovation. They created sophisticated toolkits with specialized implements for every task. Sharp blades for butchering meat, spear points for hunting, and scrapers for preparing hides. This wasn't just about making better tools. It was about thinking ahead, planning, and perfecting their craft over generations. And perhaps the most important tool of all was fire. They didn't just use fire that was started by lightning. They learned to control it. Fire provided warmth in the cold, protection from predators at night, a way to cook food to make it more nutritious and easier to digest, and a central hub for social gathering. This technological creativity, this constant drive to find better ways of doing things, was our ultimate survival advantage. It allowed a physically unimpressive primate to outsmart, outmaneuver, and ultimately outlast every other human species on the planet. From the first sharpened stone to the device you're watching this on right now, it all started with that spark of innovation. And so, the story of Homo sapiens is a story of cognitive power, cultural richness, and relentless innovation. From our humble beginnings in Africa, we spread across the globe, transforming every ecosystem we touched. We learned to communicate, cooperate, and create in ways the world had never seen. Our journey was long and fraught with peril, but it ultimately led us here. To Tease's moment, we are the inheritors of this incredible legacy, the descendants of those resilient survivors and brilliant innovators. Ever wondered if you have a little bit of Neanderthal in you? The answer is probably yes. As our ancestors, Homo sapiens, migrated out of Africa, they didn't just walk into an empty world. They met and mingled with other human species, like the Neanderthals in Europe and the Denisovans in Asia. For tens of thousands of years, we shared the planet. It was a complex relationship of coexistence, competition for resources, and yes, even interbreeding. This interbreeding left a lasting legacy. Modern humans of non-African descent carry about 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. Similarly, many populations in Asia and Oceania have traces of Denisovan DNA. These ancient genes aren't just curiosities. Some of them may have helped our ancestors adapt to new environments, influencing everything from our immune systems to our ability to handle high altitudes. But if we coexisted and even interbred, why are we the only human species left? It's a huge scientific mystery with many competing theories. Was it direct competition? Did we offend them for the same animals and gather the same plants more efficiently? Perhaps our slightly more advanced tools and social structures gave us an edge. Another theory points to climate change. As the last ice age fluctuated, environments shifted dramatically. Maybe Neanderthals and Denisovans, who were adapted to specific regions, couldn't cope with the rapid changes as well as the more versatile Homo sapiens. There's also the possibility that we simply absorbed them through generations of interbreeding. Their distinct populations might have been diluted into our much larger gene pool until they effectively vanished as a separate group. It wasn't necessarily a violent takeover, but more of a gradual fading away. Or perhaps we inadvertently brought new diseases with us that their immune systems couldn't handle, similar to what happened when Europeans arrived in the Americas. The truth is likely a combination of all these factors. A little competition, a changing climate, some interbreeding, and maybe a bit of bad luck for our ancient cousins. Whatever the exact cause, by about 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens stood alone, the last humans on Earth. This set the stage for our species' most dramatic transformation yet. For hundreds of thousands of years, survival was the name of the game. Our ancestors were nomadic hunter-gatherers, constantly on the move, following the seasons and the herds. Life was a daily struggle against the elements, predators, and starvation. Their world was vast, but their possessions were few, limited to what they could carry. But then, something incredible happened. After the last ice age ended around 12,000 years ago, the climate stabilized, and in certain parts of the world, like the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East, a revolutionary idea began to take root. This was the agricultural revolution. Instead of just gathering wild grains, people started to deliberately plant them. Instead of hunting wild animals, they began to domesticate them, raising sheep, goats, and cattle. This was a monumental shift. For the first time, humans could produce their own food, creating a surplus. They no longer needed to wander endlessly. They could settle down in one place. This transition from survival to settlement was the dawn of a new era. People began to build permanent homes, which grouped together to form the world's first villages. Life became more predictable, more secure. This stability had a profound effect on human society. With a reliable food source, populations could grow larger than ever before. Living together in these growing communities created new challenges and opportunities. People had to learn to cooperate on a massive scale. They needed to manage shared resources like water for irrigation. They needed to defend their stored food and settlements from outsiders. This is where we see the very first roots of organized society. Leadership roles began to emerge. Someone needed to organize the planting and harvesting, settle disputes, and lead the defense of the village. This wasn't the formal government we know today, but it was the beginning of social structure and hierarchy. At the same time, having a food surplus meant that not everyone had to be a farmer. Some people could specialize in other skills. This led to the rise of artisans. Potters who made storage jars, weavers who made cloth, and tool makers who refined their craft. A priest class might have emerged to oversee rituals meant to ensure a good harvest. This division of labor made communities more efficient and dynamic. Life in a settled community also fostered a deeper sense of shared identity and culture. People living together for generations developed common traditions, stories, and beliefs. They built monuments, created art, and buried their dead with elaborate rituals. This was the birth of culture, as we know it, a shared way of life that binds a community together and is passed down through generations. These early agricultural settlements were the crucibles of civilization. They laid the essential groundwork for everything that followed. The first cities, writing, laws, empires, and the complex societies we live in today. So, when we look back at this incredible journey, from scattered bands of hunter-gatherers to the architects of the modern world, one thing stands out: our intelligence. It wasn't our strength or speed that allowed us to dominate the planet. It was our brain, our ability to think abstractly, to communicate complex ideas through language, to cooperate flexibly in large numbers, and to learn and pass down knowledge across generations. This is what gave Homo Sapiens the ultimate evolutionary edge. Our intelligence allowed us to create tools, master fire, adapt to every environment on Earth, and outlast every other human species. It was our intelligence that sparked the agricultural revolution, leading us to build settlements, form complex societies, and lay the foundations of civilization. Every skyscraper, every smartphone, every work of art traces its origins back to this unique cognitive leap. We are the inheritors of an extraordinary legacy, a story of survival, innovation, and expansion that spans hundreds of thousands of years. But the story isn't over. In the grand scheme of things, our time as the sole masters of this planet has been incredibly short. The journey of humanity is still just beginning. As we look to the future, we face new challenges on a global scale. Climate change, resource depletion, and the ethical dilemmas of new technologies, like artificial intelligence and genetic engineering. Once again, we must rely on our greatest asset, our collective intelligence, our creativity, and our ability to cooperate to navigate the path ahead. The long journey of Homo Sapiens is a testament to our species' remarkable resilience and adaptability. It's a story that's still being written, and each and every one of us is a part of its next chapter. What kind of future will we build? The answer lies within us, in the same spark of ingenuity that first set our ancestors on this incredible path. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through our deep past. If you enjoyed this exploration of human history, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.